Today, we are back at Motorcar Portfolio in Canton, Ohio to take a look at this 1959 Pontiac Catalina two-door hardtop. But before we take the tour, welcome to What It's Like. We feature the classics, vintage, some exotics, lots of orphan cars, and cars that are off the beaten path. If that sounds like something that interests you, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell icon to never miss a video. Let's talk Catalina. 1959, Pontiac dropped the Chieftain and Super Chief models and replaced it with the Catalina. The Catalina name could actually be traced all the way back to 1950 as a trim level. It was sold as a trim level from 1950 to 1958, became its own separate model in 1959. 1959, Pontiac offered three models. The Catalina was at the bottom, followed by Star Chief, and at the top, the Bonneville. 1959 through 1960 was the first generation of the Catalina, and it could be had in a lot of different flavors. Two-door sports sedan, two-door hardtop, which this car is, two-door convertible, four-door sedan, four-door wagon, six-passenger version, a four-door wagon, nine-passenger version, and a four-door Vista hardtop. Catalina was the lowest priced full-size Pontiac. It was priced and trimmed below Chevy's Impala because of GM's overlapping price structure, only one step below the Buick LeSabre and the Olds 88 in trim and appointment, and priced between $100 and $200 less. Catalinas came with better standard equipment over the Chevys, 389 V8 standard as opposed to Chevy's 6-cylinder or 283 V8. Pontiacs came with a 4-speed Hydromatic automatic as standard equipment versus the 2-speed Power Glide Chevy offered. Basic basement model Catalinas came with a rubber floor mat. Carpet was an option. All right, let's get into some specs. It's 213.7 inches long, 80 inches wide, and it sports that wide track, which was their huge marketing campaign of how wide it is. 122-inch long wheelbase. It weighs 4,080 pounds. Theoretical top speed is 118 miles per hour. Gets around 11.1 miles per gallon. Production numbers. Total Catalina production numbers in 1959 was 231,561 units, of which 9,939 were manuals, 221,622 were automatics. Not sure how many of this number were automatics or manuals, but the automatic and manual figure were out of the total production number. 38,309 were two-door hardtop configuration. Price. Base price was $2,768, which would be equivalent to you spending $27,500.13 today in 2022. Making its debut in 1959, the legendary 389, which was 6.4 liters, also went by Tempest V8. It was available in many different configurations. Basement economy model was rated at 215 horsepower. It came with an automatic transmission standard. 8.6 to 1 was the compression ratio. It burned the cheap gas, and one could get 20 miles to the gallon on the highway with it. Moving up the ladder, this one has a 2-barrel carburetor as well. It's rated at 235 horsepower, 8.6 to 1 compression with the manual transmission. With an automatic transmission, power increased to 280 horsepower, 10.5 to 1 compression ratio. Moving up to a 4-barrel carburetor, 283 horsepower with the manual, 303 horsepower with the automatic. Top of the heap, Tri-Power, which was 3 2-barrel carburetors, 330 horsepower with the manual transmission, 345 horsepower with an automatic transmission. Across the board specs for the 389, bore was 4.0625 inches with a stroke of 3.75 inches. 5 main bearings, hydraulic lifters. It was wrapped in a cast iron block. Side note, 1959 was the last year Pontiac used the reverse flow cooling option where coolant was sent to the heads first. Transmissions. Pontiac offered 3 transmissions for 1959. 3-speed manual, which was a column shift manual, 4-speed automatic, the Hydromatic. They also offered a dual coupling Hydromatic called the Super Hydromatic 315. Two side notes before we get into all the button switches and knobs. Catalinas and other 1959 Pontiacs were completely restyled on the new GM B body platform that was shared by all GM divisions, replacing the A body platform. Pontiac offered two wheelbases, the 122-inch wheelbase for the Catalinas and a 124-inch wheelbase for the Star Chief and the Bonneville. The Catalina was 7 inches shorter overall length than the rest of them. Standard on the Catalina was glove box, trunk lights, dual front ashtrays, cigar lighter, rubber mat floor, options, push button radio, Wonder Bar radio, air conditioning, tinted glass, backup lights, windshield washers, power brakes, power steering, rear view mirror, that was an option, 6-way power seat, ever level air ride, plastic seat covers. There was many more options, but those were the highlights that I picked out. All right, just check out this door panel. It's all vinyl. Feels like vinyl or leather, which these seats are either vinyl or leather. Nice armrest here. Door handle to get out. Window crank for the vent window. Notice how that operates there. It's pretty cool. And the vent window, or the big window. Notice this window is all chromed out. It's all trimmed out. Onto the button switches and knobs. There are 3 pods in front of the driver. The pod off to the left-hand side has the left-hand turn signal in it. At the bottom, it has an amp gauge. Directly in front of the driver is the speedometer. It has the speedometer and the odometer. Just check out how that needle is designed. It looks very awesome. I love the design of that. Moving to the pod on the right, it actually has 3 gauges in it. Right turn signal, temperature gauge is at the top. It has a cold and hot lights. At the center of the pod is the clock, and at the bottom is the oil pressure in the form of a light. Coming back to the center here with the drive modes, park, neutral, drive, low, reverse. Right underneath the oil gauge is the climate controls, off, normal, de-ice, fan speed, and temperature. Right to the right of that is the ignition switch. Moving right, there is the cigarette lighter or cigar lighter as it's advertised. Moving just to the right of that, just below the radio, is the ashtray. Above the ashtray is the radio with the radio controls. Just take a gander at this glove box. Absolutely massive. Just like the Safari wagon that we did a couple days ago. Absolutely massive. This is located right underneath the cigarette lighter. It looks like a right and left speaker control. This is me sitting in the 1959 Pontiac. Lots of headroom. It's a very big car. Steering wheel's huge, and it's kind of sort of in my crotch. I'm not going to get in the back of this one because of where this vehicle is parked. I don't know if I get in the back, I don't know if I'll be able to get back out. So I'll just show what's back here. Notice this nice leather or vinyl wrapped armrest, ashtray on both sides, and this is how the rear window operates. And it has this gasket here so that whenever the other window butts up against it, it doesn't leak. I always wondered how you were able to have 2 windows side by side and it not leak. Gasket's how it doesn't leak. Coat hook in the back here. There's a coat hook in the back on the other side as well. Nice dome light in the center. Okay, coming around to the back here, and notice the gas filler is right here. But it's not directly in the center because the license plate's directly in the center. It's just off to the right hand side, which I thought was very interesting. So underneath the hood of the Pontiac, 59 Pontiac, just check out this engine. This is a 389 original air cleaner, and underneath this air cleaner, I was told that there sits Tri-Power. It has 3 carburetors underneath that massive air cleaner. This car is a 1959. It's got power steering, which is right here, power brakes. It's an automatic. still has a generator, unless this is an alternator to look like a generator, but that looks like a generator. On to the pros and cons. I'm getting all these pros and cons from the Complete Book of Collectible Cars, Blue Chip Auto Investments, 70 Years from 1930 to 2000 by Richard M. Langworth and the Auto Editors of Consumer Guide. And to be completely honest, the Pontiac Bonneville hardtops and convertibles are the ones that are featured in here, but these are virtually the same car. The only difference is that they ride a longer wheelbase, the Bonnevilles do. The Catalinas are a little bit shorter, and they're 7 inches shorter overall, but I think that the pros and cons would apply to both. For the pros, great styling, especially the 59s, fine performance, surprisingly good handling, big, smooth, and impressive, still available and quite affordable. Against it, too big to make practical daily drivers, hardtop sedans in less demand than two-doors, needs plenty of high-octane gas. There's one other one, the 389, they used a nylon cam timing gear, and they would just disintegrate over time. They would last generally 30, maybe 40,000 miles before they did that, but they would start flaking apart and they would start clogging up the pumps, and one could literally just be driving down the road one day and the engine just totally seize up because of the crap that's in the pump, and it won't circulate the oil through the engine. The replacement ones are made out of metal. Why they didn't do that from the get-go is beyond me. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give us a like so more people can see this video in the future. Also, if you want to shoot a comment down in the comment section, I read all the comments. And yeah, so until next time, toodaloo!